Hello everyone, welcome to episode 17 with live with Sirus Migration. My name is Suruyapa. I'm an Australian registered migration agent, and today here with me I've got Miss Rebecca Huang.
Hello,
Hi.
everyone.
Rebecca is a Australian registered migration agent as well, and she'll be able to. Rebecca today decided to join in and explain our Chinese Mandarin speaking
Mandarin.
clients that any of you who wants to join us, ask us any question in Mandarin. We able to support you in Mandarin.
Yes.
So I'll let Rebecca introduce yourself. Then we today we're going to talk about those topics that we advertised, and then we will also go some of the frequently asked questions from last sessions, and then we will give you an opportunity to ask some questions from us, and depending on the time limits, we'll endeavor to answer and give you information as much as possible within the given time limits. Rebecca, if you want to
Hello.
introduce yourself, then
Hi，大家好，我是 Rebecca 黄。我是在18年的时候拿到我的MARN license。跟大家一样，我也是从留学生的学生生涯一直拿到我的 PR，然后居留在澳洲，所以我觉得澳洲是一个非常好的国家，非常适合生活。然后，如果你们有同样的意愿想要留在澳洲，有任何关于签证的问题，你都可以联系我。然后，工作签证、投资移民签证、家庭类的签证、学生签证，我们都可以帮助你。谢谢 ，Thank you。
Thank you, Rebecca. Rebecca can speak Mandarin and English fluently, so thank you very much for the great job you've done. So today, as we advertised earlier, we'll be talking about South Australian migration pathways briefly as well. The program is, I mean, if we were to talk about the program, I can talk for full couple of hours to explain the whole program. Yeah, but we'll briefly explain you the main streams and how it works. And also we'll talk about GTI, Global Talent Independent, what's happening these days and what's new, and 188A and 188B. I have been back-to-back booked out with 188AB and GTI last few days and had few 482 and 494 clients. So I would love to share all this experience and knowledge and frequently ask questions from these clients with you as well, so you can relate if it's related to you, to your scenarios as well. Because in migration, always one person's criteria or one person's background is always different to the other person. Let's quickly go through. We have a few questions that we've listed from last sessions. The most frequently asked questions. So
The first one.
yeah,
You want me to read the question?
yeah, that'll be.
Yeah. So the first one is, which category does cybersecurity fall into?
So when you're talking about which category the cybersecurity fall into, this question was mainly asked through from the Global Talent Independent stream visas. That's where the clients were focusing on mostly as well. So this goes straight into Digitech. That's a lot of people's experience, but cybersecurity fall into other sectors as well. Most of my clients who I speak to in Global Talent Independent streams, they qualify themselves into more than one sector. Majority of them. When it comes to cybersecurity, as you see, cyber is ICT, so Digitech. But I've done a couple of few applications for clients who works in cybersecurity, but they also work in other sectors. So one I did under fintech, because this person was predominantly working in a in banking sector,
Okay.
but the experience was in cybersecurity. So we thought it was more relevant through fintech than digitech with his background. So there's no specific answer. You can be eligible into different sectors depending on where you work, what's your backgrounds, what's your industry that you work mostly. And I've spoken to someone lately from defense sector as well. So
Yeah.
this person's work in US defense sector, but mainly in cybersecurity. So depending on your background, we'll be able to support you
Yeah.
to pick which one's more suitable into your background. If we were to move into the next one, yeah.
The next question. How can I apply travel exemption? Please tell me the procedure.
The this
The
is
very popular one.
yeah, travel exemption for
It-
Australian permanent residents and
yeah,
citizens.
or maybe they are offshore. They want to travel back
To Australia.
Yeah.
So the best way to do this is, I wish I don't know how to connect my screen into a computer, but if you go to Google and type travel exemption, the first page I think it'll come is under covid19.homeaffairs.gov.au. That's the most relevant the website. You can go there and apply for a travel exemption, and it lists all the sort of categories, whether you're outside looking into country or you're in country looking to go outside. So people who are here in Australia in foreign passport, you don't need a travel exemption from Australian government, but you need a travel authority from your own country where you're traveling to. But if you're an Australian citizen or a permanent resident, then you're required to have a travel exemption approved from Australia, unless going into New Zealand, because you
New
don't need it,
Zealand,
right?
it's
A travel bubble.
open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And then I have a client who recently applied for travel exemption. He is a permanent resident. So from my experience, if you travel to overseas more than 3 months,
yeah,
you will be able to get the exemption.
Exemption.
But you will have to show the evidence why you traveling.
Is this an
Australian permanent resident.
Australian
Yeah,
permanent
with
resident? Okay.
foreign passport.
Well, we have a whole family traveling next week from overseas as well under a 188A category.
yes.
So they had a
Yeah.
188A visa. The family of 6 people, they're traveling in under a travel exemption as well. They'll be going straight into the quarantine program. So good question. I think it will be helpful for many people.
Under this time.
Next question.
What
What
kind,
kind
of
of
business will be the best suitable to
Oh.
buy in Australia?
Let me know. Let me know.
Yes.
I want to buy into it. Look, we are migration people, not
Yeah.
qualified to give you
Maybe
advice.
accountant can guide you through.
Yeah, or there's business brokers, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of interest in different streams. There is no better business like what's your expertise are in, and a lot of people have this question when you go under 491 small business owner category and also 188A visa category. The one thing you need to be clarified though, 188A category, you do not need to buy a business, or you do not need to get into a business before you come to Australia. And also, as soon as you come, you don't have to have a business straight away. You have enough time to
have
do your
time.
feasibility, and you have time to get
Do some research.
Correct.
Do some
if you're
marketing.
if you're in 491 SBO category, or if you're going into 491 category through South Australia, Tasmania, or Queensland, then I guess you'll have to get a business broker to go through what categories, and also something to consider as well. Some programs like Queensland 491 small business owner category, you're not required to have skill assessment directly related to your business that you're acquiring. But bear in mind, whatever the business that you buy in, make sure it's comfortable for you to operate and you're qualified enough to operate that business. That's a main part, because it's not the amount that you spend to acquire the business. You also have other commitments and obligations comes with it as well. And I think BSMQ give a good program. They expect you to understand the basic business operational skills as well. So, a good question, but the answer is we don't know which one is the best. I will jump into it. There's a lot of different good businesses in Australia right now. COVID recovery programs and different businesses. We seem to see a lot of new ideas and new businesses getting established these days with fairly innovative ideas. And being in our seats, we get to see a lot of IT sector growth as well. So
Because
we
the
not
COVID thing,
yeah,
everything is all on the screen
yeah,
or at home. So,
correct,
yeah, online,
yeah,
like social media.
yeah. So may you please tell me the common occupations what would fall into the GTI education sector?
PhD.
Good question. Yeah. So in the GTI education sector, this applies to not just education, any sector. Um, it's not just one specific or few specific occupation that are qualified for this stream. There are multiple occupations. So if you're okay, education, let's talk about professors and educators or the trainers. If you're a specific qualified trainer who's got international recognition and also high demand in your field, then you're qualified. That's straight away lecturers and teachers and professors. But you also could be one of those people who are qualified to establish an education facility or put together a program, or if you're working in compliance. In education, especially in Australia, compliance in education is very very strict, and they have they require specific knowledge and experience to operate RTOs, universities, tertiary education sectors. So if you have any of these specific qualifications, then you're qualified to be in this part as well. Other than that, you could be a program design or a creator who writes specific curriculums or specific education programs as per the protocols within the ASQA and tertiary education TESQA guidelines. So anyone who's working in this with international prominency and talking about GTI, remember you need to be in one of the sectors, and you need to have either a recently graduated PhD or a current job or or an ability to interest the high income threshold in Australia, which is right now 153,600. I think this is the last question, Lina, right? Okay, so talking about the other sectors, since we talk about GTI, talking about the other topics that we advertise, I'll just talk about the GTI topic first. Last 2 weeks, majority of my appointments been very busy and booked up with global talent independent clients. One of the reasons is sometimes in Australia is a country where where employees get paid very well, compared to most of the other world. So certain occupations, they have the ability to attract high income in Australia, where certain countries where you get 150,000 in Australia, you might be able to attract 200,000 plus. So there's a bit of a gap. So we get to see a lot of clients who are in just making the threshold like $153,600 per annum. So there is no specific number. It's a variable when it comes to this high income threshold. So each year the high income threshold go up by a certain number. I think it's 3%, or is it? I'm not sure the exact GDP presentation. So we are nearly towards the end of the financial year, which we only have 5 to 6 weeks to go. Yeah, 30th of June. So the income threshold also will go up. So if you're one of those global talent independent clients who's looking for an opportunity to see if you're eligible, or if you're whether you apply or not. If your current income is in just the border, make sure you put your application together fairly quickly, because it can otherwise you might not be eligible, or you might have to wait a bit to get qualified by a pay rise or something. The income itself is not a deciding factor in this global talent independent. People always take it wrong. Sometimes take it wrong, but one of the deciding factors is you need to have that global talent. So you need to be a prominent person in one of those 10 sectors, and you need to be able to demonstrate your skills, and can be useful in Australia to attract and create multiple job opportunities, and be useful in that sector, etc. So global talent sector, that's pretty much it in that terms. One of the frequently asked questions with my IT clients is, well, a lot of people have this problem with the nominator. Global talent independent requires you to have a nominator, not at the expression of interest stage, but when you get the invitation, or when you're about to get an invitation, you need to show how you're going to get nominated in Australia. So the nominator has to be an Australian citizen, or a permanent resident, or a qualified New Zealand citizen who's most likely, preferably prominent enough to nominate you. So someone who's got similar skills in your sector. So if you're qualified in this regard, if you don't have a nominator, if you're in IT sector, your peak body is Australian Computer Society. They nominate you for a fee. So normally the cost is about $550. How it works is you need to demonstrate. Some people get confused with the skill assessment, and I was talking to a client this morning. He was very well qualified, but he was doubtful that when you get ACS to nominate, it might be they might be too strict. And they were talking about the skill assessment criteria as well. The simple answer is, you don't have to do a skill assessment. It's a separate, different procedure that you have to follow. If you have prominent skills, and if you have a good background, ACS will do it for a fee. ACS will give you an indication whether they are willing to nominate you, and it won't. The fee comes at the end. It's not like everyone's getting nominated. If you're getting nominated, then you need to be in you need to have that prominent skill in the industry as well, in ICT. unfortunately, there are certain sectors where people are struggling to find nominators. We sometimes help them um, talk to some of the education providers, universities, and peak bodies. It's not a guaranteed thing that we can do. We cannot we cannot nominate or people without exploring the whole background. Um, that's about GTI. Just before we get to the South Australian categories, let's give a brief on 188A and 188B. Um, the biggest thing with 188A is there's not many states open at the moment, and one of the states which is actively open right now is New South Wales, especially the regional sector. If you planning to invest in regional New South Wales, your opportunity is still there for another 10 days. So New South Wales state government's still inviting, but they're expecting to close the program end of the month.
Okay.
So time limits are really tight, but if you're planning and if you think you can fulfill all the requirements and if your documents are pretty sharp, including your taxation documents, we're happy to help you last minute. I've got quite a few clients parallelly going through this program right now in the last minute sort of thing. And as we discussed next year, it's not all bad, but other than the visa fees going up by 15%
Yes.
for this 188A clients, your income, there's not a massive change if you have a substantial business over there. The biggest change is your business turnover. That's not the profit.
Yeah.
The turnover needs to be 800,000 within for 2 years within last 4 or 5 years that you're showing. So you need to show at least 5 years business experience within those periods. 2 years of turnover has to be at least 800,000 from next year. That next year as in 1st of July. And then you need to have business and personal assets worth minimum of $1.2 million. So they're the biggest changes in 188A visa category. 188B, there is a proposed big jump that we all got to know. From $1.5 million, it's going up to $2.5 million. This is a very easy visa category if you have the money. So if you have an investment history and you don't need to have any education background or English background, if you have enough money and if you have enough investment experience, and if you can invest $2.5 million into one of state governments for at least 4 years, you will also receive the default interest, I think paid quarterly. So you need to invest 2.5 million straight into state government. You will be getting interest, default interest, which is I don't know, 2 point something, 1 point something, I don't know.
2%.
Yeah, and after 4 years, you'll be eligible to get your permanent residency through 888 visa. But only thing that they'll be looking at that stage, it'll be your investment is with the government. So they'll be looking at your character and health. Your whole family will be able to come in to Australia and live here.
Very good.
Kids can go to school,
Yeah.
public school,
Yeah.
no charges for that. And then you can
What
come and
else?
do whatever you want in
Medicare?
terms of Medicare.
about Medicare?
No, you don't.
No
You need to have a private health care
Okay.
while you're here.
Yeah.
But you can do anything, any business or employment that you wish to continue, and you and your partner will have the full-time work rights as well. Um, Pretty much that's it with 188 category, 188 category or the business visa categories. Um, should I take a bit of a break now and let Rebecca talk about South Australia, or we'll do it jointly? Okay. Skill migration. Unfortunately, not much good news so far for the offshore clients. There are we being hopeful for next couple of weeks, but let's see how we go with the new program. There are most of the countries' skill migration programs are on hold at the moment or closed, except um, Queensland. They open for 491 small business owner category. Um, so talking about migration hotspots or hot states in Australia, um, South Australia, Tasmania, Queensland, Northern Territory comes up fairly regularly. We talk about Tasmania quite a few times, and Queensland all the time. So today, as we promised, I think one of our clients asked for a question. We're going to introduce you, or we're going to touch base with you about South Australian program quickly, and then we will go into the questions and answer session. I think the time's going really fast as well. So you want to start? How's the giving a bit of a background on the South Australian?
Okay, so with the South Australia, there are two visa options, 190 or 491. So first of all, you will need to, you will have resided in South Australia at the moment, and then your occupation list will be under the particular South Australia list, which is very long, so it covers a lot of range with different occupations.
So, like most of the other visas as well, skill migration in South Australia, the main part is you need to fulfill some mandatory categories, which is you need to have a positive skill assessment first, and then you need to be to have the required English level.
Yeah, English and then
per occupation. So if you're a minimum requirement, as if you're a nurse or in medical sector, is 7, otherwise 6. You need to be below 45 years of age, and you need to have
points,
the points needs to be
65 points.
65 points, and also to be eligible for 190 and 491, as you said earlier, Rebecca, you need to be living and working in South Australia as well. For post qualification, minimum 20 hours a week. So there are some exemption for this category a bit as well. So you want to introduce the main 3 categories, then we'll talk about
there are 3 priority streams. So the first one is talent and
innovation program
stream. Yeah.
Yeah.
So these are covered for small sections, which include the high skilled applicants.
So
This is for like a talent who got the really high skills in their particular industry, and we have another one who has just started up a business. Business owner. And the other one is international graduates who have high performance in their course. And then the last one is the talents from their industry.
So South Australia always had these 2 programs who are currently working in South Australia, and the international graduate stream for South Australia. And the latest one that came up a few months ago is the Talent and Innovation Program, With the talent and innovation program, there are 4 different categories, which is the employment stream, startup, small business category, um, high performance graduate stream, independent talent stream. Startup business category is more in par or similar to the Queensland SBO category,
small-
but not exactly the
business?
same.
Yeah.
There are differences in there. We will push through some more information in a video itself to give you a little bit more information about it. And so, with talking about South Australia priority list, if you go to Global Talent Independent and grab the priority list with the industries, if you can fit in there, you mostly fit in South Australia um, in a general note. So, um, skill migration global talent program is a good start to pick what categories to target or what categories to be in. So that's pretty much the South Australian program. Uh, I will. I would also like to share. We have seen a massive growth or increase in university enrollments, especially from overseas. I think most of the clients or the candidates, they have now understood. They've been postponing their education for a little while due to COVID uncertainty, but the university is offering programs that you can study offshore. But more importantly, after the recent request from the Victorian government and the South Australian government, we can see that we can see this. There is a good indication the international students will be allowed in Australia very shortly, and also there is a quite well streamlined study program right now in Australia, where you can enroll and benefit a lot of quite a few scholarships and specials from the universities and institutes and etc. And also the visa program is quite streamlined. So currently, if you're enrolling into a university while you're in offshore, you can enroll and get the confirmation of enrollment COE, and then you can apply for your visa and you can be in the student visa. So if you're in a if you study under a student visa overseas, you will still be counted into the 485 program, which is a big benefit that we didn't see earlier.
Yeah.
So a lot of our clients benefiting from that, and also I've seen, if we especially consider last 2-3 weeks, we have seen an increase of enrollments to universities and vocational education institutes in Australia, because we recently started recruiting students to certain universities in and campuses in Canada as well. We've seen a big increase to Australia after these announcements, and also July semester. I mean, we had TAFE Tasmania came to our office to go through a training program, also share some knowledge with us, and we've seen majority of the courses are filling up really fast. In fact, if you wanted to join to nursing program in Tasmania, the next available seat is in February next year, 2022. So, which is a good indication for the education sector in Australia, international education sector. And I was also wanting to share some knowledge about the 482 program. We had some recently asked questions about this uh, mandatory skill assessment to certain occupations. So 482 program for you to join if you have qualified as a cook or a chef or any of the occupation in short-term occupation list or a medium to short-term occupation list or the medium to long-term or short-term list. You can apply for 482 as long as you have 2 years work experience and IELTS 5 in general minimum. But if you're applying through from offshore, certain skills required skill assessment depending on the country of origin. So, for an example, if you applying for a cook or a chef, if you're from a country such as we have a lot of Indian fans, so I'll say India, then you're required to have a skill assessment which required certain work experience and certain qualifications offshore. But if you're an Indian citizen in or a Nepali citizen in Australia and applying for for the 482 program with your Australian qualifications, you're then not required to go through the skill assessment. So if you feel this part is complicated, if you are working on your 482 visa or 494 visa, and if you need any clarifications, please feel free to contact us and or send us an email through admin@sirus.com.au. Admin@sirus.com.au, sorry. Yeah. Or any of the numbers right there. So you can contact us. Before we go into some of the questions that we can see in Facebook and YouTube, I would like to remind you, if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please hit that subscribe button. There'll be lots of new information coming through in next couple of weeks, and also there'll be because of the end of financial year, there's new skill programs, business programs, and migration programs will be introduced, and then also you will get to hear out any of the information that we push out, that which we weekly update you with, being in our channel with Australian migration information. Lately we have hit the 20,000 subscription mark. Thank you very much. We wouldn't have made that without your support. Thank you. Shishe. Pome stuti. Muchas gracias. What's the other one? We got Shukriya and Kamsahamnida. And arigatou gozaimasu. Okay, let's go into some of the questions now. Devin Sentino, good morning, ma'am, from Alain, United Arab, UAE. Good morning. For us, good afternoon, but it's good to see some people waking up now. Kupinder Singh's borders open after mid-2022. Look, borders, we talked about this. We've spoken to a lot of people about this. No one knows the full answer. I'm not sure whether our Honorable Prime Minister would know the answer right now as well. There are lots of programs and things that immigration ministers and Department of Home Affairs together with federal government and state governments putting together to start the borders. This borders open wouldn't be, to my predictions, it won't be okay, it'll be open tomorrow sort of thing. It'll be a step-by-step process. Yeah. They'll start, my prediction, they'll start getting, like the borders are open for 188 applicant through travel exemption. But they'll be opening the borders soon. Probably the first lot to my prediction would be international students. Yeah. International students will be arriving to Australia very soon under a special program. So if you're in doubt to come to Australia than other countries. Um, it's a good opportunity. We have seen indications from state premiers writing to federal government explaining their programs, how to quarantine the international students coming and what sort of support they're going to extend to international students. So I think there'll be firstly they'll have a program coming into international students, and then probably skilled workers. There's a massive skill shortage right now, right here. I don't know. That's we sitting in this office and we get to see what our clients are asking for. Um, Anyone looking for a job, whether you're international student or local Australian, I think we can introduce you into quite a few job opportunities if you are willing to work, regardless of the place. There are different states, a lot of opportunities in different industries. So if we can help, but sorry, I don't want to disappoint, but international, if you're not in Australia, it's hard for us to extend our arms for this. So that's a good one. Jack Barney, I think I've seen you before, Jack. If you've been with us earlier, welcome back. Thank you for joining us again. Minimum investment for a small business in Queensland is $100,000. For you to be eligible for 491 small business owner category. And I hope that answered the question. It doesn't matter if I know it's from Tasmanian government regarding any plan to submission. So, sorry, I just read it myself. Gurpinder Singh, if government calls few hundred students, that doesn't matter. But no news come from Tasmanian government regarding any planned submission. Uncomprehended. Manada, sorry. I think sorry, Gurpinder don't want to be bad, but I don't understand the question. But yeah.
I think he may be trying to say that the international students.
There's no support from Tasmanian government. I'm pretty sure they are working on a program as well.
Each state, they will have their own plan to
Yeah.
get their international student back.
Tasmanian government's got a really good skill program.
Yeah.
I guess they have limited seats, and talking about with TAFE Tasmania and all their campuses are quite full with international students, and they have limited courses and limited opportunities available. And talking with University of Tasmania, they're quite full. They're quite up there, so they don't have a big thing. But I'm pretty sure they'll be extending their interest to have international students coming in. But right now, there's maybe, I don't know, there's no big news about Tasmanian government talking to federal government, if that's what you were talking about. So Jack, you have another question. Jack Pani, work experience in food and beverages manufacturing can take cookery course. Food and beverage, yeah, of course. I can't see why, but it's just depends on what else is there. What's your work experience, and what's other education? How long have you been studying, and what was the last course you studied, etc. too. Food and beverages manufacturing. If you say food and beverage manufacturing as in making food items, then it will be a lot more easier. And if you're talking about F&B manufacturing as in manufacturing equipment, then you might be, I don't know, it depends on what you're talking about. So if you like, Jack, send us a email to admin@sirus.com.au. We will demystify this area for you and give you a in-depth answer. Did I miss that question? Sorry, Sridharan Ramamurthy. Good morning. I'm sure good morning to you. You're coming from UAE, India, that region, so it's still morning to you guys. 39 years from India, electronic engineering, submit EOI for 189 with 90 points and waiting. I work in medical product development with 17 years experience, didn't hold PhD. Shall I apply for GTI in health sector? I was actually, just before I read the last bit, I was about to say medical product development and 17 years experience. Why don't you try GTI? And then I read the last bit of it. Look, I have seen some 189 invitations came through, but I haven't seen any grants lately. So offshore it might be tough. For GTI, there's no specific age limit as long as you're prominent. So your experience sounds good. PhD doesn't have to be there, but then again, we need to see your income threshold and other facts. If you like, send us an email to admin@sirus.com.au and we will organize a personal one-on-one meeting with you, consultation with you, and explore the opportunities you may have. And is there any Facebook that we need to finalize? One or two? Sherpa, does DHA accept skill assessment gained through RPL? It depends on the sector. Depends on the sector. So, it could be accepted depending on your work experience and all that sort of things too, depending on your sector. So RPL can be accepted, and deemed dates and the work experience need to be quite spot on. So in Australia, they do accept RPL. Scope of diploma in telecommunication and networking. This is one of the really good sectors right now, a hot area. Especially, I've explored it lately as well, talking with some university experts and our expert education team as well. If you carry a telecommunication and networking advanced diploma, you will be qualified to apply for through Engineers Australia for telecommunication. Please don't quote me on exactly on this, but I think telecommunication and network specialist or engineer, which only requires advanced diploma. You can be qualified within 2 years, and you don't need a skills assessment. So you don't need work experience to get the skills assessment. So you can apply for the skill assessment as soon as you complete the course, and this can also be quite valuable for applicants who has already used 485 visa as well. So hope this answered your question, and if not, send us an email, we'll clarify it and send you more details. We have a really good dynamic team of education consultants here with us as well, and we are planning to be in our Melbourne office on first Tuesday of June 2021, which is about 4/12. Yeah,
Exciting.
very exciting. So if you like to come and visit us, please, you're welcome to come and talk to us, meet us in person. Other than that, if there's any question, give us a call. Send us an email. If the email's running late, please, we have many emails comes through every day. Sometimes with the man hours we can, or the working hours we have, we're trying to answer as much as we can. If there's a delay, don't be upset. Give us a call. We're not that too formal in, you don't have an appointment, we can't take you. If we can fit you in, we will fit you in.
Yes.
So we have a good team of friendly staff here. We're here to take care of your migration issues or education enrollment. So anytime if we can stay back and help you, we will do it. But if we haven't answered your question, please give us a call, send us an email. We'll be here to help you. And is there anything you would like to add, Rebecca? Or
Yeah,
if not,
Just send us email or call us if you have any issue in regards to your visa or studies in Australia. Yes, or if you are currently offshore, we will help you to find
migration
best
pathways.
way, to come to Australia.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And wish you a safe stay during the coming weekend. And until we see you next week, have a good weekend, good week coming ahead. And thank you very much. Stay safe.
Bye.
Bye bye.